Dear students, welcome to the digital learning platform of Decent Junior College. Let's start with the first unit of class 12th, chapter 1, Operating System. It's a theory chapter with a weightage of 21 to 22 marks in board, comprising of 3 and 4 marks questions. The content which will be covered in this part is what is operating system, its functions and terminologies related to operating system. So let's start. So if I ask you what is operating system, the answer which will prompt from you will be Windows, iOS, Mac, Android, Unix, etc. But what is the need of operating system in your computer? Or if I reframe my question as define operating system. Let's understand this through the further video. By the examples, it is clear that operating system is a software, and we have learned that software is a set of instructions or commands given to the computer. So, even operating system is an instruction given to the computer to carry out specific task. But now my question is that what type of task? So, as you can see in the diagram where we deal with computer environment, it consists of 4 layers: user, application, operating system, and hardware. Computer user makes use of application programs like Word, Paint, Excel to carry out these tasks. Hardware is a physical device which is visible like monitor, printer, CPU, etc. And in between is the heart of the computer, that is your operating system. It connects computer user with the hardware. With this, we come to the definition of operating system. That operating system is a program which acts as an interface between the computer hardware and user of a computer, or it can be viewed as a set of software programs normally supplied along with hardware for the effective and easy use of the machine. Every computer must have at least one operating system to run other programs. An application like Chrome, MS Word, games, etc. need some environment in which it runs and perform a task. It is not possible for the user to use any computer or mobile device without having an operating system. So, the next question is why the computer does not function without operating system? Why is hardware just a box or scrap without operating system? The answer is given in this image. Let's discuss this on our next slide. By definition, it is clear that it makes hardware convenient to use. It also helps user to execute program so that all your application programs are processed by operating system. It also helps in execution of program to prevent errors and improper use of computer system. Security is also controlled by operating system, that is, the system login with username, password or AI tool is part of operating system. Filed application error is also controlled by operating system. In this, redundancy gets reduced. It also helps to share hardware among different users. It also helps to schedule resources among users, which helps in the time sharing system. Before we start with detailed study of operating system, we should know about some important terminologies related to operating system, that is multiprogramming, multitasking, multiprocessing and multithreading. So now, what is multiprogramming system? Multiprogramming system is the ability of operating system to execute more than one program on a single processor. So, more than one program can reside in memory at a given point of time. The diagram below represents the multiprogramming system, where apps like Excel, Firefox can be loaded into memory at single point and executed simultaneously. The next concept of operating system is multitasking. Task is further the vision of a program. According to programming concept, we can define task as functions. Multitasking deals with different functions of same program or multiple programs. Multitasking is ability of operating system to execute more than one task simultaneously on a single processor machine. Though we say so, but in reality, no two tasks on a single processor machine can be executed at the same time. As you can see in the diagram, CPU switches from one task to the other so quickly that it appears as if all tasks are executing at the same time. Now, moving on to the concept of multiprocessing. When we use two or more processor, that is CPU or execution within a single computer system, it is termed as multiprocessing. So, we have single operating system, single memory but multiple processor. In this system, multiple processor interacts with each other for symmetric processing. Next concept of operating system is multithreading. A thread is a flow of execution through the process code with its own program counter that keeps track of which instructions to execute. A thread is also called a lightweight process. You can also say that further division of task is thread. So, multithreading is ability of operating system to manage its use by more than one user at a time and to even manage multiple requests by the same user without having multiple copies of the program running on the computer. Now, we will have further study of operating system. In this part, we will cover the following topics: features of Windows 98, Windows NT and Linux, components of operating system, what a system call, services of operating system. So let's begin with this. Features of Windows 98. Features of Windows 98 is an operating system developed by Microsoft as a part of its Windows 9X family. It is a successor to Windows 95 and was released to manufacturing on May 15, 1998. Microsoft had added many features to this version to get it commercially accepted. Some of the highlighted features are: it was easier to use due to the following points. It was a single user multitasking operating system. Navigation among different folders was easy in Windows 98. A file can be opened with a single click. It also provided facilities of opening multiple monitors with a single screen. New hardware can be easily installed in Windows 98. It also supported digital camera and digital imaging devices. The second feature of Windows 98 is that it was faster compared to its older version like Windows 95. Also, it was easy to maintain. Moving on to the next feature of Windows 98, True Web Integration. Microsoft has integrated Internet Explorer in Windows Explorer, so internet connection became easy. The pages can be viewed easily now. There were many new features added to it like Microsoft Outlook Express, email, etc. Also, it facilitated internet conferencing. The last feature is that Windows 98 was more entertaining compared to the older version of operating system because it supported DVDs and digital audios, and even it started with television broadcasting. Moving to the next operating system. Features of Windows NT. Here, NT stands for New Technology. Windows NT was first 32-bit operating system and was released in the year 1993. It was the first advanced product of Microsoft. Windows NT is multi-user, multitasking and multithreading, and we have already learned about these concepts earlier. Windows NT can run multiple operations with fast response. It supported virtual memory management, where virtual memory is a memory management capability of an operating system that uses hardware and software to allow a computer to compensate for physical memory shortages by temporarily transferring the data from RAM to disk storage. We will learn this in detail in the further PPT. It is 32-bit operating system. It is the first operating system to use the NTFS, that is New Technology File System. NTFS helps you to store, organize and find files in efficient way. It also implements fault tolerant security and support for large files. Windows NT also supports symmetric multiprocessing. Moving on to the features of Linux. Linux is a family of open source Unix operating system. It is best known and most used open source operating system. Programmer loves to work on Linux environment. These are some features of Linux operating system. It is multi-user operating system with a full set of Unix tool. It is portable and runs on a wide variety of platforms. It can run efficiently on even 4 MB of RAM. It is useful for both programmer as well as user. It supports wide variety of applications. It's a freeware software, so it's free of cost and it obeys Unix semantics or commands. Our next topic is components of Linux operating system. If you see the diagram, Linux operating system has three components, that is kernel, system libraries and system utility. We will focus on each component in detail. What is kernel? Kernel is a core part of Linux. It is responsible for all major activities of the operating system. It consists of various modules and it interacts with the underlying hardware. kernel provides the required abstractions to hide low-level hardware or application program. So basically, kernel acts as the brain of operating system which carry out all the services. The next component is system library. System libraries are special functions or programs using which application programs or system utilities access kernel features. These libraries implement most of the functionalities of the operating system and do not require kernel's model code access right. The last component is system utility. These programs are responsible for specialized individual level tasks. Some of the utilities are system software. The programs which comes under this is disk formatting program, Windows, Mac, etc. User processes like Excel, Firefox use a utility like antivirus, file compression software or data security software, and compilers like Turbo, C++, Ethnix, C or BlueG. Our next topic is system call. What is system call? System call provides an interface to the services made available by an operating system. Before knowing in detail about system call, you should know the modes of operations. There are two modes of operation in which program executes. One is user mode and the second is kernel mode. Now, what is user mode? User mode is a mode where a program executes in safer mode but it does not have direct access to memory and hardware resources. Whereas kernel mode is a direct access mode or a privileged mode wherein you have an access to memory and hardware resources. But there is one problem in kernel mode. That is, if a program executes in kernel mode, there are chances of a system to crash. So, because of it, due to the safety reason, most of the programs executes in user mode. But when it executes in this user mode, it needs to have access to the resources. So, when a program needs access to these resources, it gives a call to the operating system that I need to access to certain resources. So, for an instance, the program is switched from user mode to kernel mode so that it can use those resources. When program switches from user mode to kernel mode or from kernel mode to user mode, it is called context switching. The call made by the program to access those resources is called system call. In other words, we can say that system call is a programmatic way in which a computer program requests for services from the kernel of operating system. Programs of system calls are written in assembly language. System call can be used in different ways, such as it can allow calls made directly from high-level program. It can use C, C++, Perl to allow system calls directly. Fortran allows set of library routines for a system call. There is one example of system call that if application program uses a sequence of setting for system calls, what are those systems called then? It can prompt a message on a terminal application program, or it can read from an application program. So there are n number of system calls for every task what you perform on the computer. We will learn in detail about different system calls in further videos. So here we come to our next topic. Operating system divides its services or calls into three main areas, that are information management, that is IM, process management, PM, and memory management, that is MM. All these work in coordination with each other to carry out different tasks. So let's highlight on each area and its system call. What is information management? Information management provides facility to store, retrieve, modify, and remove the information on various devices. These system services manage the organization of information into files and directories by allocating memory space to them. It also ensures that correct program has access to information. It occupies memory space and also various devices. So, here are some system calls of information management. What are the services offered by information management? Creating a file, opening a file for read or write purposes, closing a file, writing data from buffer to file, creating a link in a file, creating a directory or exploring a directory, reading data from file to buffer memory, moving file pointer on the computer, or changing working directory. The next area of operating system is process management. It is in multi-user operating system, a number of users located at different terminal of a network may execute same or different program at a time, but such a computer system has only one CPU and it can execute only one instruction belonging to any one of this program at the same time. Process management of operating system keeps track of all running programs called processes, schedule them and dispatch them one after the other. While doing so, it gives an impression to each user that it has full control of the CPU. The process management module of single-user operating system are less complicated than multi-user operating system. What are the system call or services of process management? They are read a process, resume a process, suspend a process, change the priority of a process, block a process, terminate a process, delay a process, or generate a new process. The last main area of operating system is memory management. When job is to be executed, the operating system loads the job in main memory from disk, but before loading it in the memory, it should know that how much of free memory is available and how much of memory should be allocated to that job. For this operating system keeps list of all memory locations. Before the program is loaded in the memory, the operating system consults with this list. It loads the program into the memory and modifies the list. When the program is executed completely, it removes the program from the main memory and again modify the list for this. Operating system determines memory allocation policy and uses various techniques and algorithms to achieve this. This is called memory management. Now, What are the services offered by memory management? There are two services that are to allocate chunk of memory to the process and to deallocate the chunk of memory to the process. Chunk means the group of basic familiar units that have been grouped together. We will learn about these three main areas of operating system in our upcoming video lectures. But before we sign off for this lecture, let's focus on board exam questions. What is operating system? List of functions of operating system. Define multiprogramming, multithreading, multitasking, multiprocessing. What is system call? List any two system calls for memory management, process management, and information management. What is system call? How it is used? How does an application program use these calls during execution? What are the components of Linux operating system? What are the three main areas in which operating system divides its services? What is information management? List the system calls in it. What is process management? List the system calls in it. What is memory management? List the system calls in it. What are the features of Windows 98? What are the features of Windows NT? And what are the features of Linux? Thank you, dear students. We will be back with another video on operating system. Till then, keep learning and keep studying. Stay happy and stay healthy.